You want to play games, do you, Batman?
Save the city or catch your greatest enemy.
You think you're my greatest enemy?
Who else drives you to one-up them the way that I do?
Superman.
Superman's not a bad guy.
I like to fight around.
Are you seriously saying that there is nothing special about us?
There is no us. Never will be. Now, I gotta defuse that bomb.
Hey DC fans, welcome to our non-spoiler review of the Lego Batman movie. We're super glad and super excited to be here to talk about this movie. This movie was a whole lot of fun, but before we get into it...
You guys liked it?
Well, it was alright.
You liked it? I liked it.
I
think I liked it a little bit. All right.
Before we get going, I'm Adam Hlavic.
My name is Hector Navarro. I'm Augustine Rios.
And we're Superhero News. We've done a video on here actually previously. We did a trailer reaction video for Suicide Squad.
Oh, that's right.
Way back in the day,
that was
right
a long
before that
time
movie
ago.
came out. We're back to talk about the Lego Batman movie.
Yeah,
And just so you know, we also did a video on Superhero News going through all of the Easter eggs and references that we caught in the Lego Batman
good
movie.
one.
So we'll put a link in the description below for that video.
I promise you there'll be stuff in there that you did not know.
Probably not.
promise.
There's a lot of
I
stuff.
promise
Between
you.
us three, we're able to catch quite a few
Yeah,
things.
there's a lot of stuff.
But this, like we said in the beginning, this is going to be a non-spoiler review. So we're not going to talk about key plot points. We're really just going to talk about the movie overall and how it kind of just played out.
Yeah, a little bit of the premise in the beginning.
A little bit of the
just to
premise.
get, you know,
And we'll talk about a little bit of the acting, but don't worry if you're worried about spoilers, there aren't any here. It's
not gonna happen.
But if you do go watch the Easter egg video, that one will have spoilers.
Yes. Yeah.
So consider yourselves warned for that. But without further ado, let's get into this non-spoiler review of the Lego Batman
Let's
movie.
do it.
So this movie obviously follows the 2014 The Lego Movie.
Yes.
Where Will Arnett
hit.
debuted as Batman. Obviously, it was a huge hit. That movie and that character.
Yeah.
So now he has his own Lego movie.
Yeah.
Embracing almost 80 years of history.
It was so cool. They decided they were going to make a spin-off Lego movie the Friday night at the party of the weekend that the Lego movie opened. I think the president of Warner Brothers
Interesting. I
told
didn't
Will
know
Arnett,
that.
like, you're going to get your own, and maybe he didn't believe it at first, but like, I mean,
crazy.
if any character, if any sort of side character was deserving of their own spin-off movie, it was Lego Batman in the Lego movie because he was hysterical.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
now we're spending more time with him. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we need to get a live-action Will Arnett version somehow.
Please,
I
make
want to
it
see
happen.
Will Arnett in that bat.
Hey,
It
man.
can happen, DC. Listen,
Yeah.
you guys should be tweeting at DC and say, "Hey, you got that Powerless comedy show on NBC now."
That's what I'm talking about.
Will Arnett Batman?
You can maybe even just dress up as Bruce Wayne. We just give us something. Just
get
just a
Zach
little-
So good.
Galifianakis in there. Get everybody else that was in this
Sarah,
movie
Rosario
in
Dawson.
that show.
Just
So
saying.
good,
It
so
would
good.
make your
Channing
show
Tatum,
just a
Superman.
billion times better.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's just going off really off the top, going off what this movie kind of does. This movie is an amazing Batman film because it embraces all the history
Everything.
and it touches landmarks that
Everything.
that literally, I mean, everyone that we know who loves Batman, who loves this character, who loves anything related to this character,
From his
can
first
appreciate.
comic book appearance all the way to his most recent live action movie appearance, and you know, cartoon shows and TV shows and movies and everything in between. It hits on all of that, and it embraces every aspect of his mythology. And my favorite thing about the Lego Batman movie is it embraces a relationship that I have yet to see in a movie that I was so excited about, which was Batman and Robin. I finally got a Batman and Robin movie, and these characters were amazing. Michael Cera as Dick Grayson Robin, one of my favorite characters, period.
Yeah.
I love the idea of Robin, but I especially love Dick Grayson. And in this version, he's a little bit younger, and he's a kid who wants to be adopted because he doesn't want to be alone anymore. Turns out that he might have a lot in common with Bruce Wayne Batman. And their relationship is just so great comedically, but the filmmakers did such a great job of adding that emotional element. And without giving anything away, like, they do a great job of putting that in there and exploring the character of Bruce Wayne in a way that we haven't seen explored yet in a film.
Agreed.
Crazy.
Agreed. I also, we can't overlook the silliness of this movie. It's just, so the way I describe this movie is the best exploration of a Batman that we've seen so far. His motivations, like, what is the core of this character? You see this in this movie, but it's so well hidden in all this craziness. It's just, the movie, at first, it starts off, it feels like it's sensory overload. I had no idea what was going on. Everything's flying at you left and right. They're talking really fast and everything's happening. But at the same time, once you start to get to, like, the core of the character of Batman, I was blown away.
Yeah.
The movie, the plot is a very it doesn't really make some of the plot devices don't really make sense sometimes, but the exploration of all of these characters, of why Batman's fighting crime, why Batman is not detached to anybody but himself, especially with Alfred, and then the relationship between Alfred and Batman is explored in this too. It's everything you want in a Batman.
Plus, I think what it does so well too is it addresses something that the movies kind of touch on from time to time, but usually don't. What is Batman's greatest fear?
Yes.
And we are made to assume, we've always kind of been made to assume it's one thing because of what happened, because of circumstance.
Right.
Clowns.
But it's really the aftermath. Did you say clouds?
Clowns.
Oh, clowns. Yeah, that too.
But a clown-shaped cloud. Terrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
Clown snakes.
Oh my God.
Clown snakes?
So
I know.
scary.
I'm scared of cloud snakes.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that it does so beautifully, and I honestly, I had a moment where I was sitting in the theater and they start to discuss it, him and Alfred start to talk about it, and it didn't really... I think I had to internally kind of known that. It
tricks you.
But it tricks you, and then
emotion.
I realized, I was like, that's true.
Yeah.
We've never really dealt with what scares Batman, what scares Bruce Wayne. We know what he has to overcome in order to become the greatest fear.
Right.
But what's the one thing that really fears him in the long term that he won't commit to? So I thought that the movie did that really, really well. And like you guys were saying, it shows us a side of Batman that, cinematically, we get little pieces of it, but I think because of the fact that the movies their job is to do something very...
They do different things.
Yeah, and I think this one kind of has the freedom to breathe and be a lot more flexible, and it can tonally move around a little bit from being a parody of the 60s to being more, dark and gritty, like the more modern versions of Batman, but then also hit all the different decades of comics, too.
Totally. The fact that it's a family film, being an animated movie for everybody, they really go into Batman's family, the Bat family. Rosario Dawson as Barbara Gordon is fantastic. She's the new commissioner of police. She's got some radical ideas that kind of throws Batman, Bruce Wayne a little bit, kind of throws him a little bit.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What?
Great. Her father, retiring Jim Gordon, is voiced by Hector Elizondo in a kind of a smaller role, but he does a great job too. But we get to see Barbara Gordon as a modern sort of take on the character. It's a little bit different chronology-wise than we're used to seeing Barbara Gordon become Batgirl, yada, yada, yada. It's a little bit different, but they did that on purpose. And then the Joker aspect. Zach Galifianakis is the Joker. So funny, so great. But what's the Joker's driving force in this movie, Augustine? What is it? What does he want from Batman?
The thing he wants from Batman is what a father and son relationship is. He wants acknowledgement. He wants to know that their relationship is real, basically. And they treat it like if they were in an actual relationship. Yeah. And when Joker gets crushed, he gets crushed.
Yeah.
The whole theater was like, "Oh!" And this happens early on in the movie, so don't even.
Yeah. I mean, but like you're saying, I mean, from there, that really is the point of the movie that really we start to really go on this journey with these characters.
Right.
And I mean, that's obvious. These characters have been enemies. I would almost call them frenemies.
Yeah.
For like 80 years. 78 years. I mean, it's insane. So these two really are the yin of the yang, and it does talk about things of like, what's kind of like, it approaches the character from two different angles of being a family type of guy, but also, very much hitting on the relationships and how other characters in this universe really affect him.
Yeah.
There are no villains without Batman, but there's no Batman without the villains.
And it's like, but then who's more important to Batman? Is it the Joker or is it Robin?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's when
It's
the movie
crazy.
tries to answer.
Because they all carry weight with them.
Exactly.
Like everything is part of why Batman is around.
Yeah.
And it's this movie did a beautiful job of balancing everything out. Like I was saying before, the plot points aren't really what drives the movie. It's the character development. Because we want to know what Batman is going to do next. Because he was put in this hard in a rock, or a hard place in a rock. Yeah. And he has to Batman his way out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said Batman his way out of it.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the fun stuff. Let's talk about the animation, the music, the special effects, the bricks themselves, like the set design, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it's all
I
spectacular.
mean, right off the bat, it's such
off of the bat.
Hey! Almost went over my head.
Whoa! No, but seriously, the production design and the way, I mean, it's a Lego universe. So the fact that they really, it seems like with this and even the Lego movie, they really approached it like it's a real movie, live action, and they had to figure out exactly with little cameras. They had to figure out exactly what is this movie going to look like, what is it going to feel like, temperature-wise, how is it going to feel? Like, how are we going to, translate
Color
to
palette,
the color palettes? I
so
mean,
good.
it's incredible. It's bright and vibrant, but there's also so much. It has such a huge range of color too.
My girlfriend asked me, how long did it take them to stop motion animate this? And I'm
no.
like, oh, they got you.
They got you.
They
Yeah.
got you. I was like, it's all CG. She
Yeah.
was like, whoa, this is great, because the look of it is just fantastic.
It looks amazing. I mean, and the thing that I think makes it so good is they didn't try to make the Legos fluid. They really tried to make the Legos move like a Lego would.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what kind of maintains the reality of like what this movie is.
Absolutely.
'Cause I think if the Legos were too fluid, you would stop believing the fact that these are Legos. They would just feel like weird, square, rubbery things.
Also, I saw a documentary on Legos. Have you guys seen that documentary yet?
Brickumentary?
Yeah, the Brickumentary. They talk about the animation style almost pays homage to Brickumentary, like the people who were making Lego films before they were popular.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you can animate a Lego is to
Right.
have that kind of jumpy
Yeah.
animation that they have. And, when other people animated, they were stuck onto Legos onto the floor.
Right.
So they had to have kind of jerky movement.
Domo
But the movie does it beautifully.
Yeah,
It does
it's
it amazingly.
Yeah. And you
great.
were mentioning something about
no,
and-
no,
yeah.
no,
We're flipping this guy.
But one thing that you didn't mention, that something that's different from the Lego movie, is that they took the water elements and they made them live action now, or they used real physics.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Augustine. They used real water and real steam. They did that on purpose. The filmmakers, the director Chris McKay was talking about how they did that to achieve a more cinematic look, to make this feel like a Batman film as opposed to like a Lego movie kind of a thing. And it works. The water is water, the steam is steam. You get steam rising in Gotham City. You got Bruce Wayne spitting out water. So little touches like that really help. And Augustine, you were saying that the dewdrops on the plane in the
Yeah, the
beginning.
dewdrops on the plane at the beginning, if you look at them, they're real world scale. So they're our scale.
Yeah.
And so they look really big on the
Yeah.
Lego plane. And so
Yeah.
when I first saw it, I didn't even realize it until we started talking about it.
Yeah.
Thinking back on it, I was like, hey, those drops are really big on that window. I was like, oh,
Why are
because
they
it's
so big?
actual Lego scale.
Yeah,
Duh.
yeah.
Exactly.
And
It's not
it's-
like human-sized Legos.
Right,
It's
yeah,
not-
and that's the thing. That's what's so cool is they really thought about this world, and they thought about like, how would this really work? How would this function in our reality? Because in the Lego movie, they go into our reality at one point. So in that sort of regard, I love the fact that they did that. They thought about that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about the music for a second.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
music. One of the songs that is a theme in the film is "Man in the Mirror," which is hilarious. It's so good. I mean, there's even a Richard Cheese cover of it at one point in the movie. But what's really cool is that they actually went and got, for the soundtrack, they got one of the original producers of that song, the Michael Jackson version, to essentially approve and produce a new version, which is on the soundtrack, which is great. But the score is also fantastic. The score pays homage to different Batman music throughout Batman history.
many times.
You hear a little bit of Hans Zimmer, hear a little bit of Danny Elfman. I thought at one point I maybe even heard a little piece of the animated series, Batman the animated series, like ba 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 ba, a little something
there was
like.
a little bit of that.
Definitely
Great.
Batman '66.
Absolutely.
I mean, the opening of the movie itself is a straight up homage to the Christopher Nolan trilogy,
Yes.
the Dark Knight trilogy. It's amazing.
Listen,
I know you guys are geeking out on that music,
know.
but I was geeking out on Africa Bambaataa.
Yeah.
And the Soul Sonic Force, they
Listen
had
to that,
their
listen to
song
that.
when they were partying inside.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah,
It was
it's
great.
so good. But we definitely got to mention the acting. I mean, across the board, everyone was fantastic.
I about their A game.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't think anybody dropped the ball.
Yeah, I mean, we already had Will Arnett in the Lego movie, so we had a flavor of that. But then to bring in Michael Cera, Zach Galifianakis, some of the returning characters from the Lego movie. But then you also throw in Billy D shows up as Two-Face.
Billy D. Williams.
Hector Elizondo, Rosario
Leave that
Dawson.
door open, baby.
I mean, so many great, talented actors came
Alex
in.
Puccinelli.
Alex Puccinelli, our friend Alex
Our
Puccinelli
buddy.
does a voice as well. And everyone really, I mean, it's tough because it's like it's a Lego version, so there is sort of a flexibility of like, well, we can kind of interpret the character the way that we want to interpret
And
it.
it's
We don't
automatically
necessarily
more comedic. Sure.
exactly like we don't have to do it. But I think what they did so beautifully was some actors do their own version, but it still stays very much within what you would expect from Robin, Batgirl, Commissioner Gordon. The characters are still the same characters. The performance. Yeah, it's a little bit more on the '60s edge of parody, but it's still very much iconic to what the characters
It's
are.
a testament to the writing because I think they got to the core of all of these characters that I feel like I know from comic books and cartoons and movies that any of the lines that any of these characters said, I feel like I could picture other actors in other versions, not saying the exact same thing, but basically feeling the same thing. Does that make sense? Like, whatever this Dick Grayson Robin was saying, I could picture other Robins in comics or in cartoon shows, like saying similar stuff.
feels
I could
authentic to the character.
I could picture the versions of the Joker saying stuff that's kind of like what Zach Galifianakis said.
I agree.
So great.
And also to touch on that too, I feel like the writing was so on point, the character development was so on point that every time Batman had a breakthrough, it was earned. It was completely earned. You feel like, holy crap, this Batman could actually feel this way.
He learned something.
And he actually, like he's big and he doesn't want to learn anything, but he does it. He learns something, even against his will. Like he's growing personally, and everything from the beginning to end, everything that he learned, I feel like it was absolutely earned.
Yeah, and I think that's really the strength of the movie is like, there are some moments where the comedy really lands really hard. There are some moments where I didn't feel like it landed as hard as it could, but I think like for the majority of that movie, the humor is really well done.
It holds up. I've seen it twice. Absolutely. It holds up, and I'm in agreement with you. There may have been a couple of jokes where I was like, I don't know if that's going to keep being funny the second, third, fourth time. And I like to watch these movies over and over again. So, that would be probably my biggest criticism as well. But still solid.
But to me, like the editing, the pacing, the action, how like family friendly it is, but also it doesn't talk down to the audience, and how much history it throws at you. I think it really. I mean, to do that in like a 90-minute movie that's like a Lego version of this character, to pay that much homage, but to really be family friendly, but to also have beautiful moments for audiences who've grown up with it for like 30 years.
Absolutely.
I think the movie did a fantastic job.
At first, it's a bit of sensory overload.
Sure.
It's kind of hard to follow at first because everything's moving.
Then it slows down.
But then you get the slow down moment, and during the movie, my girlfriend leans over to me. She's like, "They're really moving this story," and I was like, "Yeah, they are." She's like, "But I really like it." Yeah. So it's just there's really no delays in it. There's like you can't feel this is the first, second, and third act. It's just one beautifully paced, good moving movie.
Yeah,
I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My final thoughts on this. I love this movie so much. It's one of my favorite Batman movies. Yeah. It's so fantastically done. The cinematography, the direction by Chris McKay, the music, the voiceover acting. I mean, these actors became the characters. Absolutely. And it was just fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah. My final thoughts are, this is my favorite Batman movie. Do I think it's the best Batman movie? No, probably no. But this is my favorite because it gave me, as a Batman fan, things I've wanted to see my whole life. I finally got a Batman and Robin movie, and they were great. And there was emotional moments, I don't want to give anything away, that I was like, man, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted in a Batman movie was this exact thing. So happy to get it. So it's my favorite. Cannot wait to buy it on 3D Blu-ray.
Yes.
Put it on my 3D TV and watch it.
Yeah, preach.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, this was I agree with you, Hector. This is my favorite.
By the way,
Batman
the 3D is
movie
really
well.
good. I did see the 3D.
I haven't seen it in
The 3D is stellar, fantastic. And in fact, my girlfriend and I watched the film, and some of the trailers in the beginning were in 3D. And she turned over and she goes, "This 3D is already giving me a headache." And I was like, sorry about that. Sorry.
Yeah.
As soon as the movie started, good to go.
Good to go.
It was
Great.
like it was done in a fashion that was like not necessarily linear, but it was comfortable enough that I think like for kids it's not going to be uncomfortable. For adults, maybe are not the biggest 3D enthusiasts.
It's not about sticking stuff out of the theater. Or
It's about making you feel like you've gone into the world of Lego.
Yes, that's what it feels like. And I got to ask the director, Chris McKay, about the 3D, and that's what he said. He goes, imagine being in the 3D world and actually looking at these sets, and there would be great depth where, a little character's in the foreground like this, little Batman, and there would be something like this far back. It feels like there's depth into
it. Really
shot.
just feels like you have a Lego set on the desk and you're looking at it.
Yeah.
It gives you full perspective. That's what it feels like. And I think that's how the 3D for this Lego movie was the perfect use of it.
Agreed. Augustine?
I was just saying that this is probably my favorite, my favorite version of Batman so far. And it's mainly because of the character building. Yeah. Mainly because we got to the core of what Batman really is, when I feel like all these other movies are kind of beating around the bush. This one's just like, what's Batman afraid of? Let's really explore this. Yeah, this movie got to everything that I wanted to see.
So good. Definitely go check it out if you have not. It's a great film. See it once, see it twice. I will probably end up seeing it like 2-3 more times.
Multiple times. This is worth multiple viewings.
Let us know what you guys thought
Yes.
in the comments below. Let's have a little discussion. I guess since we're keeping this spoiler free, if you're going to do spoilers in your comments, put like a little spoiler warning so when people are reading
Yeah, if you're going to spoil it, make sure people know.
Yeah, I want to hear what people think about it.
Yeah, and then make sure you guys jump over to our channel, Superhero News. You guys can check out the Easter eggs and references that you might have missed. And definitely leave a comment in that video as well, because maybe we didn't catch something that you did. Let us know for sure. And you can follow me on all social media just at Adam Hlavik.
Follow me at Hector is Funny.
You can find me at @L_Santo Taco.
And you can just find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/superhero news. Thanks so much for watching.